Hello. Just gonna wait for people to show up here.
Hi there.
Hello. Okay, I'm just gonna check if we have quorum here. Da, 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 da. Okay, I have 4 absentee ballots, though more like 3.5.
Right. And a half. Who's the half?
Well, didn't he last minute vote on the conductor candidates, but didn't vote on the rest of the things? Yeah.
Oh, right.
So it's not a full. Okay. Okay, I got Needon. I think we have just enough. If Needon's here.
Hey, I'm Watson.
Hang in.
I need.
Okay, so yeah, if there's 4 here and then 4. Oh, you want to start Scriptly? Hold on. Scriptly.
Wait, did we spin the wheel yet? As well?
Well, I'll do that in a sec. Hold on.
Oh, it's so exciting.
You really want that wheel, huh?
Yeah.
That's not the bot in here.
Uh.
Oh, just transcribe. I see.
Oh, there you go.
Test. Hello. Oh, yeah, close enough.
No, it's working then.
All right, let's get started. So, welcome to the January 2024 GSM. We're going to be doing things a little differently. In terms of location of the meeting, from last meeting, we decided that we're going to use a spinny wheel. It's actually, you can see it on my Frumple TV stream on YouTube. So it'll be briefly appearing there. There is also a Discord thread of suggestions. I've taken all suggestions since December, so we have about 19 different locations, and one of them will be the location of today's meeting. So without further ado, I'm going to push the spin button, and we will find out.
It's a lot more than a wheel.
Okay, so the winner is the I spent $3,801.15 Help Diplomacy Center. That's located in Central City on the east side. So let's go there. If I can remember where to find it. It's basically across from the new flag park.
I need to get my bearings.
Trying to remember where we are here. East? Okay. Gotta go this way.
Where am I facing? I don't even know where I'm facing. East.
Yeah, this right over here.
Okay, I'll just teleport.
It even has a meeting room for.
Oh, lovely.
But it's actually kind of it's a little not updated, so there's some old stuff in here.
Right.
All right, let's get started. The member play area. Just if you're gonna make any changes, just make sure that it's clean, that I can roll it back easily after. So, yeah,
Can we do it on the roof, maybe? That's quite easy to roll back.
yeah. You can do, yeah, the roof is probably better. Just around the table here. Okay, let's get started. So first agenda. Oh, actually, before I do that, can someone take minutes here? Would one of you three please volunteer?
Um, I can if it's needed.
Sorry, what was that, Dina?
I can if it's needed, if no one else.
Skelly. I don't know. Skelly, do you want to do it? Okay. Um, Skelly, would you mind in the minutes? There's a little section that says who attended and who submitted a ballot. I have absentee ballots from AP, Zooj, Missa, and Dinty. Okay, cool. Thanks. All right, so let's. Simon's not here today. He's not feeling too well. I hope he'll feel better. So I'll be running the meeting again. The first topic that we're going to look at are 3 conductor applicants. They are Rainbow Slime, Bobby Gammer, and Avanish. We'll be looking at Rainbow Slime first, and I guess we'll just go straight into the vote here. So,
Sorry, I think Empire ET just requested to speak. I don't know if he's joining.
who? Sorry?
Empolo just requested to
Well, then you should be able to
speak.
join. Staff members should just be able to get in here. Like, you don't have to.
He's saying he won't hear anything for some reason, so I don't too wait for him.
Hold on. Sorry about the technical. You should be able to just join in. There shouldn't be any issues. Polo might be a. No one else is having any sound issues, right? So it might be something on their end.
Yeah.
Okay. I did forget to do one thing. I forgot to randomize the staff list, so hold on here. Okay. All right, back. Do we want to wait for Polo? Also, I don't know what Foot's doing.
Um.
Okay, I think we will wait for Polo, just to make this go
Yeah. Okay.
easier.
Just wait a couple minutes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. By the way, for those that don't know, if you want to add further suggestions for the GSM location, there is a thread in Discord. Feel free to add stuff in there.
Honestly, I've been looking forward to spinning the wheel all day, which I'm very glad that it's happened.
Excuse me. Jeez. Polo, can you hear us? Oh, no. We're waiting on Polo Foot. Foot, just get up here. Get on the stage. Yeah, meeting's begun. We've chosen the location. There you go. Polo, can you hear us? Blah, blah, blah. Hello?
Yes, I can hear.
Oh, it's working now? Okay. Okay, we're all good? Okay, so let's go to the conductor applications. The first conductor we're looking at is Rainbow Slime. And the first one to vote is DNA.
I'll be 4 for Rainbow.
Okay. Next is Foot.
Neutral.
Okay. Needon.
Neutral.
And Polo.
Neutral.
Wow. Actually, the first 5 people are all the people who are in attendance. That's so weird. Skilly.
Against can be convinced to vote for.
Against?
I mean, against can be against.
Against? Okay. Hut has not submitted a absentee. Dinty told me neutral. AP has voted neutral. Nissa has voted neutral. Zooj has voted. Zooj has voted neutral. Simon did not submit an absentee ballot. Neither did 7D. Neither did Vicky. And I'm going to be voting for.
So that comes out to 2, 4, 6 neutral and 1 against, I guess.
Okay. Skelly, since you're the lone against vote, care to provide an explanation?
To be entirely honest, I think I voted against him the first time because I had concerns with maturity, and I don't personally feel that that's something that can be assuaged in the time span of 3 months. Although I could be convinced to change to neutral, though it wouldn't make much of a difference anyways.
Are there any specific examples of immaturity that we cited then and maybe now?
I have to go look at the archives for the meeting.
Okay. Do you want to explain your 4 vote? I can explain too mine.
Yeah, so I think initially one of my concerns was that I know Rainbow built quite a few towns that he hadn't really brought to like councillor or above. So I was maybe concerned about things like land scars and just sort of general ability to do well because of that. But I think now when I look at his towns like Rosetown, which has been submitted for Senate twice now, I think it's actually quite a nice town. There aren't too many land scar issues, and I think now that I've seen that from Rainbow, I think I can trust them to be a conductor. And then also I think they're fairly good at communicating with people. I think for me they just tick all the boxes that are required for conductor. So
Okay. My reasons are not really world related. I'm just more voting for because I haven't heard anything specifically bad about them recently. I think I voted neutral or maybe against for them last time, but for me, nothing really stands out. So I'm willing to give them a chance at this point.
I'll switch to 4 to give a vote of confidence in the character, but as I said, I don't really feel like the concerns can really be changed over 3 months.
If that's what you feel, Skelly, then don't change your vote. Like you should vote based on what you think. Okay, so the vote still stands at 2-6-1. Oh, Paul says, I think Rainbow has succeeded in being more mature, and he's also very active. I almost vote for a promotion, but I had concerns about the too many town situation. Ah, that is a good point, Polo. Yeah, I almost forgot about that actually.
Yeah, well, I mean that's what I was referring to with the building loads of town. Like I said, I think with Rosetown for me that concern's sort of been alleviated.
I see.
So
Okay. I actually completely forgot about the too many towns things. It's actually might be convincing me to change my vote back to neutral based on that, because that was not just to fill people in. And this was not really public knowledge, but staff had concerns that Rainbow was starting too many towns. Like we're talking 5, 10, at least that many towns, and not finishing them, or even more importantly, Rainbow didn't remember where these towns were. So it was there are a few cases of where people would discover that a town, and apparently it was made by Rainbow. So we actually did ask Rainbow to ease up on that and not build so many towns. We asked him to try to commit to at least 1 or 2 towns and actually get them to a higher rank. Which did Rosetown get senator? I don't remember. I don't remember off the top of my head.
it hasn't gotten senator yet, but it was submitted twice, and I think both times it got relatively high scores in
Okay.
most categories. I think scale was the only one that was slightly weak. So
Okay, so Rainbow is trying to get senator in that sense. So at least that's happening. Okay, so the vote stands 2-4, 6 neutral, 1 against. Does anyone want to change their vote right now? Skelly's staying put. To answer Spaghet's question, when it comes to maturity, we don't. I guess it doesn't really matter for conductor, but if you're founding a whole bunch of towns without care and attention, that does sort of imply that could apply to like being a conductor, because that does require care and attention to make sure that you don't, put the wrong command in or go too overboard with these commands. So it's more like I guess a personal control or willpower thing. Does that make sense? Yeah, the forgetting about your towns part is also not great, because I mean, yeah. It is 6 neutral right now. Okay, I'm not hearing any other changes. This is the last call for changes. If that's the case, then we're going to stick with these votes here. Okay, so I'm not hearing anything, so this vote is finalized. So unfortunately, Rainbow, you're not promoted for conductor. I guess I'm gonna ask staff. Does Rainbow just need more time to mature, or what? What are we looking for from Rainbow here? Oh, actually, it is 7 neutral. Sorry. Okay, so people seem to be typing things. So DNA says, give it a couple months of your town making a diction. I think you made great progress with Rosetown. I look forward to seeing it reach senator. Skelly says, I don't really think I can see Rainbow being a conductor right now. But I get my question is when. I'm basically asking staff, is there anything we can say so that Rainbow knows what to improve on for next time?
I mean, I think, like I said, I think getting Rosetown senator for me would be a really great indicator that the whole, like the Rainbow said, town making addiction is sort of fixed, maybe. Yeah.
Footchecking says, I don't really hold the town thing against them, but there's also nothing about them that stands out to me in terms of being a conductor. Okay, makes sense, Foot. And Polo says, I think showing more attention to their towns would be more than enough for me, and it's already in the right direction. Yeah, I agree with that too, Polo. I think, anyway, if you get senator, that I think that shows that you're committed to a town, and I don't know, maybe showing world ed knowledge or helpfulness might help you next time. Yeah, that's fair, Skelly. You don't want to give a time expectation there. Okay. Hopefully, Rainbow, that makes sense to you. If you have any questions, you can always ask staff later. But we're going to move on to the next candidate here. And that would be Bobby Gammer. And I've randomized the votes again. First one is Dinty, who voted neutral. AP voted for 10. Well, I'll get to that later. 4. Needon vote. Oh, Needon.
Yeah. I'll vote neutral, but can be swayed to for.
Okay. Skelly.
Neutral leaning 4.
Okay. I'm gonna vote 4. And then Polo. He's also neutral, leading 4. DNA.
4.
Okay. Missa. Oh, Missa is. What was Missa's vote? Missa's voting 4. Hut no vote. Foot.
Neutral leaning 4.
Okay, I'm sensing a pattern here. Simon no vote. 70 no vote. Zooj voted. Zooj voted 4, and Vicky had no vote.
And 70 was no vote.
70 no vote. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Who should I ask first? The people who voted 4 already, or the people who are voting neutral but are leaning? Anyone can go, I guess, if you want to express more details here.
Just don't have too much experience with voting myself, especially in like situations of like trust and like maturity. There's not been any absences of it. It's just I don't have that personal experience, but I do think that also with the trust of like the other staff members, I will definitely I'm definitely convinced to switch to full.
Okay. I'll read out AP's vote. There were 4 quote unquote tentative. They do think that maturity and their World Ed ability have improved since last time they were up for conductor. So I believe Bobby was up for conductor last October, if I recall correctly. Zooj has said, Zooj who voted 4, I believe Bobby has improved in both W skill maturity and would be a great addition to the team, also friend of others. Missa said 4, no concerns about maturity, activity looks good. Good reasons for applying. World ed knowledge is a plus. Dinty was neutral, but I did not have any further comment. The only comment he made was on Rainbow. It was a very half-assed, half-assed absentee ballot, unfortunately.
Looking on back, I said I was squarely in the middle with Bobby, and squarely in the middle. I didn't think he'd make a bad conductor, but I didn't really see it. I almost want to say the same thing I did for Rainbow, that I don't really feel like 3 months is a radical change, but it seems that AP has given good testimony, and I would trust them in believing that Bobby has better world edit skills. So I'd switch to 4.
Okay. Some comments coming in. So Polo says Bobby has certainly matured a lot recently and has significantly improved with World Edit. I'm not sure if that is enough though. Okay. And Foot has added the one thing I've noticed more recently that maybe could be somewhat negative is that a few of their recent towns seem somewhat low effort and bland. Is that a subjective opinion, Foot, or is that just I guess your opinion? I don't know.
I've seen 2 of their towns that they wanted me to review are just like 10 boxes in a row.
10 boxes in a row? Okay.
Towns also aren't maturity.
Yeah, but again, town building skill versus being a conductor, it's a bit of a stretch to tie them together.
Yeah, that's just the only thing I can think of. It's
Okay. Okay. Does anyone have any other opinions? Otherwise, I will just simply ask: does anyone want to change their vote at this point? Skelly's swapping to 4. Okay. And Polo says that's true. That's true, but Bobby has been really receptive to feedback and has tried to provide feedback. Okay. That is a good trait to have. Okay, footage swapping to 4.
Then is also
And here comes all the leaners. All right. Any other vote changes? Okay, hearing none, then oh, I think I missed you, Nina. Okay, Nina changed to 4 as well. Okay, so that's 9-1 there. Okay, given that vote, no further vote changes. Then in that case, Bobby has been promoted to conductor. So congratulations. And finally, our last conductor candidate is Avanish 2008. And let's go through the votes again here. I'm first. I'm going to be voting for. Zooj. I'll look up their vote here. Zooj voted for. DNA.
4.
Polo.
neutral for now.
Okay. Vicky, no vote. Skelly.
4.
Okay. Dinty voted neutral. AP voted 4. Needham.
4.
That's a 4. Foot. Oh, Foot.
neutral, but heavily leaning 4.
Okay. Simon, no vote. Missa voted 4. 70 had no vote. And Hut, you missed the first 2 votes, but what are you going to vote for Avanish? If you can even type. Hut voted 4. Hold on, I've just lost my place here. Okay, so any comments about I guess let's start with the neutrals. Any concerns? Any things you want to comment on there?
Just wanted to see what other people thought before I officially switched. Oh yeah.
That's fair. I can read some of the ones from the absentee ballots here. One sec. Okay, so AP said for tentative. Again, I'm not 100% confident, but I do think their maturity is improved enough for conductor. Zuge said 4. I have done some world edits with Avanish, and I think he is skilled and mature enough for the position. Missa says 4. Mature, fairly active, and acceptable reasons for applying. Prior world edit experience appreciated. And Dinty voted neutral with no comment.
I mean, I know Avanish is quite involved with the community. I know on a lot of the proposals or the community version of that. I can't remember what it's called. He's put a couple of messages in there which have I think that he sounds relatively mature when he's talking about things. So that gives me enough confidence to vote for Avanish.
Polo says I think Ava's activity level is a bit below compared to other conductors, but that's really my main concern. Let's look at the activity levels quickly here. Because
Hello.
oh, hi P. Because Simon and I did look. We always look at people's activity levels before we add them to the meeting for consideration. I see. So yeah, if you look on the conductor sheet for this meeting, yeah, I guess yeah, compared to. Normally, we just expect a minimum of 10 months per month, or 10 hours per month for conductors. Avanish is kind of on the low side, but I mean, comparatively, there's some conductors here that spend way too much time on the server, so I don't know if we should be comparing to that. As long as it's above the 10 hours per month minimum, I have no concerns. Any other opinions here? Nope. Any vote changes? Ava's activity compared to Bobby. Bobby is significantly way more active than Avanish. Like Bobby's in the 40 to 65 hour range. Or actually more like 50 to 60. And Avanish is more like 15 to 30. Okay, Paul's changing to 4. And Foot, are you changing to 4 there? Yep. Okay, so change Foot to 4. That is basically 10 to 1 there. Any further changes here? Okay. In that case, congratulations, Avanish. You are also promoted to conductor. Okay. All right, let's get on with the actual meat of the meeting, and that is community issues. So the first one up is 5A from Lightshatter / Chimata regarding moving the warp permissions from counselor down to trustee. There was a bit of discussion from early December about this, but it got deferred to January because December was kind of full. There hasn't been much discussion with this topic since then, so I'm not sure where we stand on this one here. Does anyone have any opinions or things to say about this?
Why did we give trustees Beacon in the first place?
Are you talking? Sorry, Beacon?
Yeah, because it got mentioned in the topic.
Um, I think it was originally Premier. I think we just wanted to get rid of a building permission from Premier and just give it to trustee. Uh, I think the main concern about beacons were it does cause lag, or at least client-side lag for if someone's like machine is not so powerful, or graphics not so powerful. So, trustee seemed like the right place to put it.
I'm quite ambivalent on this because I can see both sides.
So I think the argument makes sense because counselor is kind of a it's kind of in a weird spot where there are other things that are probably arguably more dangerous, like water buckets or like NPCs or armor stands that are available at a rank earlier than this. So counselor and warps are kind of this weird anachronism, based on how we set up a long time ago. The one concern I did bring up though is if you move this to trustee, then trustee sort of becomes the all-encompassing rank for almost everything, and then counselor becomes kind of a perk. Kind of ends up with no real perks or no interesting perks anyway. I think a lot of the reason why we organized the ranks that way is so that each rank had at least something interesting going on with that. For counselor, that was warps. That was when we set up the world in Gamma.
I seem to remember we set it up that way. So council was linked to warps because that was the point at which somebody would be allowed third-party transport into their own town. I could be misremembering, but that no longer applies as much.
True. Yeah, I think the idea was this was before like all the rail companies and all that sort of stuff happened. So, yeah, the idea was you would at least start a town of some sort, get at least ranked up a little bit, and then you could start building your own rail company or bus company or whatever to that town. Okay, I'm just catching up with all the opinions that are being said in meeting chat right now. Yeah, Ludus says I do think we need something to encourage people to get the counselor. Skelly says, to be honest, I understand Lightshare's idea that the time you had to progress to the rank to get actual perks is in the past. Move MRT station renaming counselor, but keep rebuilding at mayor?
Oh, that could work.
Might get a little confusing because maybe I'm not so sure about that idea because it's usually in my mind I usually find like any sort of edits to the station is at one rank. If you move it at counselor and mayor, it kind of makes it a little confusing. I did also see Simon suggesting even like moving warp permissions to something lower than trustee, because if you think about it, like trustee has all the dangerous stuff, right? But warps in themselves aren't particularly dangerous. Someone could make like their own personal warp hub and cheat with warps. That is very possible, has happened in the past. But theoretically, if someone wanted to just come on the server and they're not interested in building towns, but they want to build their own train company or bus company or something, putting it at citizen, for example, might be a viable path. But again, I don't know how often or even if that happens, if that's a path that actually people would go for. I think again, citizens kind of also from the past, but I think part of it is just to at least show. It's citizens meant to show off a person's building skills, so don't don't build something crap. Like just build some. I think the ability to build at least something functional is probably a good thing to have before you build towns or anything really, like train stations or buses or whatever. Okay. So I'm reading through all the opinions. I don't really see a consensus. I'm seeing a lot of different opinions here. Is Light Shatters in chat right now? In game?
They're not in. Yes, they're in game.
Okay. I guess one thing I'll ask Chimata or Light Shatters. I don't, maybe it's already in the proposal. Is there a specific problem that we're trying to solve by moving it to trustee, or is it just merely just trying to put everything together at trustee? Because yeah, proposals are neutral. I'm just not seeing. There's no real urgency to do it, to go either way, even.
It is a bit weird that because most of the ranks may up, the perks that you get are perks for the town, which makes sense. It makes sense. We don't allow Airfield Steel Senator. That's a perk effect, but effectively giving the warp permission to Councillor does tie it to that. Does tie it to the town, which doesn't feel great. It's whereas trustee, we know that people at trustee are fairly trustworthy.
Skelly wrote a paragraph. The idea behind this is mainly that warps being limited to Councillor is a vestige of an era where a lot of stuff was put behind ranks. Like you had to be a senator for a transit hub. Oh, transit hubs, geez. Councillor to get a single intercity road connection. Mayor to get an intercity rail. Nowadays, most of that has been deprecated. That is true. Luda says, in all seriousness, I think that keeping in a councillor forces people to interact with the community a fair amount before they start doing intercity transport, which inherently involves working with other players. Okay.
I disagree with that, to be honest. Somebody could just build the 10 buildings, put thing in request to staff, and otherwise just not interact with the community at all. So I don't think Councillor really is a demonstration of you being involved in the community any more than trustee.
I think Ludus's point is if you want to connect your rail or bus company from another town, that does require you to talk with the other person, right? Or am I missing something here?
It does, but my point is I don't think the rank of councillor is in and of itself a demonstration that you interact with the community significantly.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with AP on this. Like, there's people that have been on the server for years and years and just don't ever feel like building a town, but they would possibly like to make a railway connection. But because, like, I think time on the server is like a better indication than like a rank with something like that. So I don't. I'm a proponent of like moving it earlier.
HVT does make a point, though. you would already have to interact with the community to get trustee. So, yeah, because the only way to get, I've seen this in a few instances where for some people who don't really want to interact at all, they do have some difficulty trying to get people to endorse them for trustee because people don't really know them, right? Like there is some requirement of at least interacting with others before, like at trustee, not even at counselor. Yeah, Lightshire is saying, I think the reason why I chose trustee is because I believe they're trusted not to use warps to their own benefit. That's a fair point. This guy says, if I'm ambivalent, but generally I'm ambivalent, but I am also of the principle that if the community is divided over a rule change, it's usually better to keep this the same. Do you think this needs a poll of some sort? Maybe not here at the GSM, but maybe in the topic, it's in the community issues topic itself. Because it's kind of hard to see from the discussion I'm seeing in GSM, it's a little bit hard to see how many are in favor and how many are not. And again, there are also other options. Like again, Simon suggested putting this at lower than trustee. You know, like. Okay, I'm not going to bring back community polling as a whole, but I think so. I think like Chairs, what I'm going to probably do is make a separate topic in community issues, and make that the poll, just so that it's like a top level topic that people can just vote on, rather than just try to stick it into the topic that you already have. I think that'll make it easier. And then any further discussion about this topic can be done in the new topic.
So effectively defer this to February.
Yeah,
pending the poll.
I think so. Yeah, at least we can get a better sense of what people think about this. So. Okay, does that sound good to people? So, is there any other points people want to bring up here? Okay, I'm seeing pretty much consensus. Consensus at least of putting a poll. Okay, so yeah, course of action. We're gonna put a poll for this, and then we'll defer this topic to February. Okay, moving on to the other community issue here. World Edit Instant Rapid Response. What this is, to summarize, is we've noticed that there have been a lot of World Edit accidents, especially of stack or pastes, where they either crash the server or they cause physical damage to the server. Some of them have been recent, and I've intervened when that happens. Other incidents have actually happened many years or months in the past, and because they did damage and they're beyond the core protect logs that we currently have, we're unable to roll them back. There was a particularly one really bad one that cut across the northern part of Zeta east-west. It cut through Protocol's town, and it just rammed through a bunch of hills, and it was not pretty. So we'd like to avoid those sort of things. So what I'm suggesting is a new procedure for conductors and staff to follow when they suspect that they've done a world edit boo-boo or accident. So the first step is basically try to undo it and then submit a report form. The form is just mainly just easier to convey information about what happened. So where you did the what world edit operation you did, did you do it, when, Like, so it's easier for admins for us to look it up in the logs, and then afterward we'll look at these reports, specifically admins, and we'll just make sure that nothing didn't damage the server in any way. There's any physical damage around, and in case sometimes what happens is sometimes we discover other damage later on, but we missed it later on. So to have these reports somewhere, we can at least go back and actually refer back to these incidents. The one thing I'll emphasize here is submitting false positive reports is absolutely okay here. I would much rather people submit just reports, even if they're just even a little bit, if they suspect that they might have done done an accident or something before we'll let it. I'd rather just be on the side of caution, and rather than missing a report on an incident at all. So don't worry about any reprimands or anything like that. Like, this is fine if you submit false reports. Does that make sense to everyone? Does anyone have any questions, concerns about this new procedure?
No harm in doing it.
It does add an extra little bureaucratic layer, I guess, but I think the benefits are much outweigh that. So, and I mean, I could have just told staff this only, but I think it's worth telling the rest of the community too, because just so you know that this is the sort of thing that conductors and staff will do. And if you're thinking of becoming a conductor later on, then this is something you should be aware of as well.
It adds a little bit more, I'm going to say a little bit more faff in the short term, but ultimately it's better in the long run.
Yeah. I guess the one big reason for the forum is because in the recent months I've had to intervene when actually even some staff members had some world edit boo-boos that they did. And what ended up happening is I go talk to them, and it'd be just this back and forth of like, okay, where did you do it? What did you do? Blah, 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 blah. By having them just go straight to the forum, it's a little easier for me, for admins and myself to read it. So at least we know we have all the information right there rather than trying to do this back and forth. Yes, there are only 2 admins now, but I think eventually we'll see more admins later on. The protocol, the Google form is actually already available. There's a link. Actually, let me put the link up. Actually, obviously, don't submit this form now, but yeah, the forum's been live for quite a while. Okay, so I don't think this is controversial. I don't see any opposition to it. So I think we're going to go with this. It's just, again, mainly why it's at GSM is just so everyone knows that this is going to be the procedure going forward. So, and to answer Pro's question, like how big, again, I'm not going to, like, if you think you've done any sort of damage, submit a report anyway. If it turns out it's nothing, that's totally fine. But usually the most obvious indicator is if you see in Discord that at Frumple the server room is on fire message, that's probably, and you just did a world edit, that's probably a very good sign that you broke something. So you should be submitting a report then. If you freeze the server long enough or cause everyone to crash, that's very obvious. You should submit a report for that one too. Okay, let's move on to section 6. These are all other things. A lot of them are also Central City stuff, which I'll have a comment about that later on. But yeah, let's just go through them now. 6A, MRT Expo West extension. proposed by Simon. Unfortunately, Simon's not here, so. And there were also concerns about whether. Well, I had a concern specifically about. There was a sort of unofficial policy of having just one extension per person for the remaining MRT line extensions. But there's some contention of whether that applies here.
I think the one extension per person made sense when we had. Okay, that might help. I think the one extension per person made sense when we had people proposing them every month, and it was very, very busy. Whereas now that kind of mania of MRT extension seems to have died down now. Not many people are very forthcoming with them.
Yeah, that is true. But there's also there's also always a possibility that this fad could come up again. I think when I originally proposed the one extension per person, I think that's a bit too strict. I think just strictly going with one extension per person, I think that's too much. I think, but maybe easing it off to like a few extensions per person might be a bit better. The main purpose of why I did this is just so that it's not just like one person doing all the extensions. And I know Simon's not here, but Simon did the whole union line, which is like 4 lines in one almost, if you think about it. And to have him also do the Expo West extension too seems like I think I would much prefer if it was someone else at least doing like the station designs or like and that sort of stuff. Like I wanted to at least give other people the opportunity to design and like own the design of an extension. Since Simon's not here, also we could also decide to defer it again to February.
Yeah, in the balance of things, I think I'd be for deferring.
Okay. Like so, and to be very specific, I guess to be specific, the what we're discussing is not specifically this extension. It seems like there's a bigger topic of, like, do we want to allow Simon or anyone else who's already built a lot of extensions to continue building extensions, right? So, but yeah, I would agree that we should make that decision with Simon here, not without. And yeah, we're not really urgently making extensions here. Okay, sounds like we're going to defer this particular extension. I mean, maybe it should be a community issue or something for next meeting, because that's what really we're discussing. But I'll figure that out afterward. So this is being deferred. 6A. There is a comment from Bobby. But again, with Simon not here, I don't know if he's not able to respond to it. So I'll keep that comment in mind, Bobby, if you're still here, in case that comes up again. Oh, he's not here? Okay. And Skelly, yeah, all the stuff you wrote, that's probably going to be part of the discussion too. I think it's less about whether the one extension per person applies to Simon. It's more just in general, like, Simon's already done all this. Do we need to do that? So. Simon is back from holiday, but he's not feeling well, so he wasn't able to attend this meeting.
It was a very last minute thing.
Yeah. Okay, so 6A is deferred. We'll in a sec. Next up is Central Link train cards conversion and refresh by AP. Hi, AP.
Hello. So yeah, it's pretty much as you would think, converting the existing metro system to use train carts. There'll be a few other touch-ups of the stations. I've listed them down in the document, which it would be helpful to have open. So yeah, ultimately it's not going to be... there was a bit of a revamp project a few years ago that turned out a little bit of a disaster. It's not going to be that. It's going to be much more limited in scope.
Some people are saying. Foot says, if this is approved, can I preemptively swap out the redstone at my station so I can keep the design consistent? Which station would that be? Mining stone in Kalmar.
Put in some funny door mechanism like 3 years ago. Works. Is completely inconsistent with everything else.
Yeah, that's something that was one of the things to be swapped out, which...
So is Foot just asking just to do it?
Just to do it now so that I can put it in with the same design. But
Sure.
standard is redstone instead of...
What do you think about that, AP?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Any other questions about Central Link? I mean, Central Link is really just your thing, AP, right? I don't think anyone else was involved. Like mainly, right?
Other people have been involved in the construction of it and in the the refreshes of it, but
Okay. Any other questions, concerns, objections? Yeah, looks like other people are working on it too. That's good. It's not just AP.
yeah. There's a... I don't know if it's in this... No, it's not in this GSM exactly. There's probably going to be some rerouting of the E line through Sendai, but that'll be in relation to... I think John is going to be leading the way on that.
Avanish had a question, AP. Does that apply here? To one of his stations?
Yes, they'd still be responsible. Well, I say responsible for it. Yes, effectively.
Okay. All right. Seeing no objections and no other further questions, I think we can consider this approved, AP, so you can go for it. Okay. Oh, Sally said he was on a break. Is he writing minutes? Oh. Okay. Okay. So 6B is approved. Next up is 6C. The Central City Beltline. This is proposed by Fred. I don't think Fred is here. He said he may not be able to attend GSM. But he does have a big PDF, which is, I'm going to caution people, it's not fully up. It's the original proposal. It's not fully updated. There are a few things that were updated from the community issues thread. I would suggest reading that. Fred did put up a little summary of the changes that would be in place. I'm not sure. I'm working a bit with Fred on this to get it going, but I'll summarize what he said here. So basically, this is an overground loop around Central City. for train carts. He originally proposed it in phases, but I suggested to him, considering it's a whole system, it probably should be considered altogether at GSM. Plus, also a lot of Central City stuff has also been proposed at GSM too, but we'll get to that later. Phase 1 is over Bleakwood Avenue, which is on the east. It's a north-south road that goes on the east side of Central City. Originally, he proposed putting it over the road. However, because there is some space available to the east of Bleakwood Avenue, such as the Flag Park, we also graciously asked Polo to add this next to the FS building. And there's also further south the old tram and some small minor buildings that Fred is suggesting to move out. Fred is suggesting a alternate routing that's just on the east side of the street, which I personally think is better because it's not disruptive to the road, and we have the space available there, so I think we might as well use it. Actually, in game, we're actually right next to where it's supposed to go. You can see over here. If you're next to the Diplomacy Center. So that's that. There's some other things. There's an amendment to the Phase 3 routing, which I suggested. I think that's going to be good. That's what we're going to go with. Morningside is the same street, but on the west side of Central City. That goes north-south. That one, there's a lot of different designs that we need to choose. I'm not sure if we can choose them at the GSM here. But we can discuss that in a sec. And then there's a Union Terminal, which will be south of the southeast corner. And Fred says he already has a pretty good idea of how that's going to work. Also, in terms of interest of people wanting to connect with Fred's line, there's several companies that have already expressed interest. Obviously, Fred Rail, but John G's Sendai Electric, Kitty or Kyle's Interbond, Light Cheddar's MRT Shinkansen, Frozen City Rail, and Cosmic Cat's Gen Rail. So. Okay. Does anyone have any? I'm not sure how we should approach this. Do you guys want to look at each phase specifically and go over questions or concerns there? Or do you just want to go all out here and do whatever? Because it is a big proposal.
So a question that I don't know if it was answered, and Fred, it might be, pun not intended, was of how it's going to integrate with other services such as Metro and MRT and buses and the warp terminal. To be honest, it's not something that would significantly affect the vote from my end, but it would be something that'd be nice to be considered in the construction, and no doubt it actually will be.
So by integration, what specifically are you looking for? Like joint stations, or how it's going to go over or under?
Effectively, yes. How it's going to be to transfer between, whether that means just having to cross the street.
Okay. I think that might be a station, like a per station sort of specific thing. Like, for example, if you look on the map, there's one thing with the northeast corner. Actually, I'll go there right now so people can see. So the line goes to the east of the Flag Park, and you can see these red and green lines here. But because of there's a northeast MRT terminal and the Central Stock Exchange, there's no space for this line to go. So the line will have to go over the road here in between these buildings right here. On the diagram, Fred has a station south of here, so maybe around this location. Though, I mean, a station right in the middle here could also work too. I don't know. I think it sounds to me like the station positions are up for, like, they can be negotiated if it makes sense to put them in places. But yeah, if you wanted them closer, you can bring that up with Fred, or I say closer to other services like the bus terminal or the again the MRT station here.
Yeah, I mean, what's labelled as Exchange Place on the map is, I don't think it's terrible. It's, yeah, as Scully says, it's thought out.
Yep. And then there's supposed to be a station near the bus terminal, though again, I've kind of from my discussion with Fred, I think I've seen him. It could be either. I don't think in front of the FS place because that's. I think it's a bit too intrusive. Maybe south, like over the road here. The big point that we were discussing was the tram south of, like, over here, and there are also some small buildings. I think in what Fred's proposing is moving the tram line underground. I have said, I'm actually going to go a little bit more extreme here. I'm actually more in favor of removing this whole tram section. There's just these 3 stations that go to the southeast, mainly because I think the tram needs a rethink or revamp as a whole, but I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet. And if it just makes it easier for Fred to build down this stretch, I think just removing it might be easier for now.
Yeah. CC Transport as a whole needs a refresh. When the local buses were first approved, I think they were intended to be routes. There were 4 routes proposed, 2 of them completely new, and 2 of them effectively shadowing the tram. The ones shadowing the tram were never approved, so were never actually put into service.
Polo, just to be really clear, the intention of the Beltline is more like a regional rail, kind of like what's a good example? Like Go Train in Toronto or the S-Bahn in, like, Germany. Like it's meant, all those companies you see that are connecting to this line, you're meant to board them in Central City and ride them out to other places. It's whereas a tram, I think, is more of a local thing. So
Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
It's a lot like the Melbourne Central Loop rather than the trams.
Yeah.
You can take the trams across town or use the loop to get out of town.
Yeah. So I'll just also make this clear. I'm removing this. I want to propose moving this tram, like, maybe not permanently, but at least temporarily, just so that we need to rethink of where the tram's going to go. It could be very possible that maybe Fred builds his belt line here, and then we decide, oh, can we sneak the tram underneath? Because there is, in a lot of Fred's tunnel designs, there is space below for things like that. Also, these small buildings here in this corner, Fred has asked to. We know the owner of 2 of them. There's the one on the south end. We have no idea who the owner is. We're proposing moving them to a different location, though I'm not sure exactly. That's undecided yet. Because again, the line's going to go straight down on this side of this road. So if we could use a little eminent domain and just move them off somewhere a little bit. Honestly, looking at the tram, I'm not sure what got built first here, because the tram was put in when Gamma opened, right? Like,
What the tram was built when Central City was first being built.
yeah, but the thing is, these buildings wouldn't been here first, right? Because the Central City was empty, so it's a little concerned. Like, I'm not sure why the tram does this weird thing, where it goes around these buildings. It's a little weird. So that's basically phase one. I think phase one is the most important part. It has the Union Terminal. It has this north-south connection from Sendai, the northeast, the Flag Park, the FS Building, bus terminal, and then the south, and then the Union Terminal, and then also there most of the train systems that are connecting up are immediately north and south. So I think phase one's like the core piece that had like the most important part of this loop. The rest of the loop is more for better connectivity around the city and to other, like mainly to the west of Central City. Um, do you guys want to go over those phases right now, or do you have any, I don't know. I don't know how we should approach this because again there are a lot of phases to go through here. I feel like Fred should be the one introducing, but I'm kind of doing it for him here. Correct. Yeah, phase one is the only quadruple track one. Yeah, so phase one is 4 tracks or 2 in each direction. The other parts of the line are mainly just 1 track in each direction, so 2 track wide. Yeah, I was thinking, Skelly. Yeah, maybe because I think it makes sense to propose it, but maybe it is too much. But at least if phase one is approved here, then Fred can at least start working on it, and then the rest of the phases we can look at. Maybe, well, either it could be a GSM, but I have some thoughts about that. Whether we want to keep doing these sort of proposals at GSM, or maybe just through the proposals channel in Discord.
Bring back ISMs.
No, no more ISMs, please.
At least for this, if we're already approving the first part and then that part goes well, then at least there's already a precedent that the rest should go well too if he wants to do it.
Yeah, I think the main thing is there's some details of the other phases that I think we need some more discussion on. Specifically, so at least in phase one, I think we mainly figured out where I'm trying to encourage that the line doesn't go over the road, but on the other side, on the west side of Morningside Avenue, there's also the tram also goes there too, but whether or not what to do there, I'm not so sure. Like, should it go over the tram? Should it go over the road? There's some alternate viaduct designs that Fred has put on as well.
My concern with phase one is mainly at its northern end, the Warp Rail Terminal station.
Yep.
Yeah, being, I think I've brought this up with Fred before. The issue I see is if he's planning to go over the interchange, that's quite high up.
Which interchange are you referring to?
The A0 A1 interchange.
Are you there right now? Oh, this thing?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. So I see, so that's the court there.
Yeah, it's a concern, but there's no reasonable alternate routing around it without going heavily into the core area.
AP, did you see the alternate routing I proposed in the thread?
I'll have a look at the thread now.
Yeah, not
Okay.
the one in the PDF, but there is an alternate routing I suggested. Because the one that Fred suggested is it has a lot of deviations and diagonals, which I was like, that seems a bit much. So I suggested one that sort of sneaks around the corporate court.
Ah, yes, I see that. Yeah, that... It's a bit tight, but it's very doable.
Yeah, I mainly suggested because it's in terms of crossing the A0, and also not even there's also another spot way west over here where the Plains line goes. There's actually a little hill that the Plains line goes under. This seems like a very good crossing spot for the line once it gets into Central City, like right here specifically. So, yeah, I tried to find the best route that where there's like natural crossings and have maybe the Beltline could use those instead. It is a bit tight. And Fred did have concerns that maybe it would be too tight, but if he needs to extend the tunnel entrance a bit and give himself more land, that is doable. I think that's fine. Okay, so how about this? Let's approve phase 1 right now. And then with the other phases, I guess we should answer this question right now. So the reason why this GSM has so many Central City topics is because I think in general, I think a lot of Central City stuff has been, we've decided, yeah, they should go to GSM. Do you guys want to start looking at Central City topics in the proposals channel instead, if it makes sense? So what?
Some things would just make you go faster,
Yeah,
especially if it's not that controversial.
like a good example might be the next topic actually, John G's street extensions into Sendai. That's a pretty minor topic that might be better at proposals.
The
But
road redesign idea would probably be GSM, but then something like just setting the roads out 50 blocks is not that important.
yeah, so in terms I guess this is what I'm asking for Fred's proposal here. We're going to approve phase 1 now, but these other extra phases, do you want him to submit those through the proposals channel, so at least each phase can be scrutinized specifically?
That seems like a reasonable compromise.
Okay. Yeah, I still think it was a good idea. As Fred said, I think it's still a good idea to just show the whole thing, or at least most of the whole thing, here at GSM, so people at least know what to expect. But in terms of the details, the specifics, I think each subsequent phase, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess 2, should go through proposals. What's this thing? Yeah, we do have so let's say for now, like, any Central City stuff should go through proposals. If it's deemed to be too big, as Jesper suggested, like, yeah, we can just defer that at that point. Yeah, but again, John G, it's okay if you. I thought the better approach was GSM, because the precedent was actually to just put everything at GSM if it was Central City related. So we're changing that now. We're going to say go through proposals and then we'll defer there. Okay, so given that, let's talk about John G's proposal now, the final one of this GSM. 6D, extensions of Bleakwood Avenue and Hoopsville Street into Sendai. CC Loop, phase 1 is approved. Subsequent phases will have to be proposed in proposals so that we can figure out all the details and specifics. Because there are still some questions. I think phase 3, the one we were just talking about, phase 3, the one with the tight corners, I think that's fairly set in stone. But there are other phases that haven't really been looked at too far. I'll mention that as well in a sec.
Right, where's our rubber stamp?
Do you want to rubber stamp this? Is there any concerns about this? I mean, it's a extension of a street. John G has apparently got permission from Yoshi about the road next to the CC Warp Terminal, so that seems to be fine. The Southwest CC NIMBYs are here? Oh no. Oh god.
Well, it's a good thing they are very, very far away from Sendai.
I'm a little surprised how close this town is to CC. Hang on. Okay. Any objections? We're just going to approve these street extensions then. All right. All right. This 5D is approved. Okay. Okay. So before we go on to the Q&A part of the meeting, there's no trustee meeting, thankfully, because Elite is away. Thank goodness. I'm just kidding. But so there's one other thing about proposals that we're going to be changing here, and staff have discussed this. There's been a little bit concerned that some of the proposals are going too fast, as in I'm talking about proposals in the proposals channel in Discord. Some of them have been approved without allowing other staff to scrutinize or check them. So what we're going to be doing starting from now, this GSM, is there's going to be a 48-hour minimum for proposals to be resolved. And this could be approval or rejection, but the topic has to be there. It needs to have 48 hours have to elapse, and they also need to reach quorum before they can be accepted or rejected at all. Admins can override this if they find like there's a topic that's like, you know, if someone rescinds their topic or maybe the topic's not valid, then we have the option to reject it earlier. But in terms of just normal voting, again, we're going to set a 48-hour minimum, and you need to reach quorum, which is 8 votes right now. Does that make sense to everyone? It's just it might slow down the proposals a little bit, a very tiny bit, but I think it'll just give at least staff the opportunity to look them over. I don't know if people are listening to me anymore. Okay.
I'm listening. I just have no concern.
I think what I'll do, I'll announce it in announcements, and people know by then. So, or I'll put in the GSM results too. Okay. All right. So Q&A portion of the meeting begins. Does anyone have any questions, concerns, other stuff they want to bring up while the GSM is still in session? Questions? Anything? Hello?
I mean, Elite's away, so I don't have the silly questions.
Thank goodness. Yes, I don't have to deal with that this month. Okay, I am hearing nothing. I'm hearing radio silence here, so I am assuming that. No, you can't replace Elite for silly questions. No, I'm not answering that silly question, John G. Nope, 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 nope. Because Elite, and I'm pretty sure in the trustee meeting he established this. He is the runner of the trustee meeting, so.
Can I self-nominate as answeree of silly questions?
Do you guys want to? Do you want to go through silly questions? We can if you're that bored. But I mean, was riding Fred Rail the worst mistake of your life? No, surprisingly. There's a trustee meeting. Can we have a conductor? Conductors can self-organize if they want. If they want to set up a union or something, I don't care.
Conductors are going to unionize.
Yeah, but yeah, they probably, you know. I support unions. Okay, I'm not like Linus and Bastion or whatever. What is your rating of Fred Rail from 1 to 10? Not a number, because that's how weird Fred Rail is. Okay, I think the silliness is just leaking over now.
Yes.
I'm a little surprised there's no serious questions or anything, but I guess maybe that's a good sign. Oh God. Okay. Oh, Ath mentioned about New Mammons. I haven't had a chance to talk with Simon about it, but I think eventually at some point we'll start looking at that. But it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. If it happens, we'll announce it. Okay, let's bring this meeting to a close. Thanks everyone for attending. The next GSM will be on February something. Meetings are now on the second Saturday of every month. We are not alternating Sundays or Saturdays anymore. It's always Saturdays, the second Saturday. So please go attend.
I have for the night vision expired again.
Yep. Okay, bye everyone.
Alright.
Thanks for attending.
See you later.
Get out
Bye.
of here.